I greet you all for being here. It's nice having you in my live stream. I hope you have a great day. So, it's an opportunity for you to interact with me. So, I know about your thoughts, I know about everything happening around you, to know how you are doing. So, you're welcome. Once you join, let me know where you are streaming from. Ask me questions, so I will respond to you as soon as possible. So, today, our topic of discourse, or what we're going to be discussing at this very point in time, is going to be about how can you manage rejections? How can you manage negativities, negative criticism? When people start dragging you online, start saying all sorts of things to you, there are a lot of negative critics all over the place. So most of them, their major intention is to pull you down, is to make you feel bad of yourself, is to bring you to their own level of thinking, or to completely destroy your emotions. So have them all over the place. I have a lot of people who's bent on in destroying people's image, people's efforts to be better and everything. So that's what I want us to analyze here now. How you as a person can manage negative emotions coming from people whose intent is to downplay your personality or your own thoughts and everything. So how can you do that? One way of dealing with these issues, one way you can deal with these issues as regards to handling people with diverse opinion about you is identifying the status or the level in which the person is operating. If you are receiving insult from somebody that is your mentor or somebody that is training you and is telling you something or is speaking to you in an insulting way, and you feel like this person is insulting, the way you react is different from when you are insulted by someone below your level. So when you want to deal with insult from people above your level, what you should see it as from your mind that this person might actually be trying to improve me or tell me some things that will help me to grow. He might not really be insulting you, or maybe he might not be saying those things in a way to insult you, or else you observe clearly that this person's intention is to insult you. That's how you know when to address it. But if you know that this person's intent is basically to make you grow, but you feel like what he's telling you is insulting, you have to change that mindset. That is one thing you should take into account. But if you feel like the person is blatantly insulting you, your personality, you have to pull out from that mentorship or from that person, whether it's your boss or anything. Because the more you give room for people to insult you, to downplay you, to destroy your emotions, everything is going to affect your mental health in the long run. It's going to affect your overall being as a person. So take very cognizance of the fact that there are levels of some people they will be in your life. You accommodate their insult. But if it's somebody that is below your level, you know that by all means, this person now is below your level. There is nothing on earth that will give you room, that will give you the opportunity or give you the time or framework to start, flexing muscle with this personality. What you do in this situation is just to ignore the person. When you ignore the person, you are saving yourself the energy and strength necessary for you to do other things. But some people make the mistake of saying they want to go all out and show this person who they are so that they know how they feel and all that. You are not actually helping matters. The best thing you should do is to simply disassociate yourself from such kind of person. You don't need to waste your time, your mental strength or your energy arguing with somebody below your level. Or you might see the person, you just laugh it out. Just laugh it out. When you laugh something out, it helps to reduce the emotional attachment or the emotional pressure it will carry. When you laugh at it, you are making that thing look so low or so simple to you. The fact is that you yourself can never be insulted, or else you consider that which you were told to be insulting. The moment you understand this, it will help you to handle insults. You can only feel insulted when you consider that particular thing told to you as insulting. If your mind doesn't consider it as an insulting thing, it will definitely not going to be insulting to you. I'm telling you honestly. So the first way of you handling this kind of situation of negativity is to, especially when somebody is directing this thing to you and this person is below you, just laugh it out. Laugh it out or you just ignore it and don't take it as something insulting. You just see it as this person doesn't actually know what he's doing. In short, you even be placing the person in the category that he doesn't really know what he's doing. It's actually being stupid to insult you. So rewire your mind to see insult in a way that will make it look less to yourself. So that is one. Another way you can be able to handle negativities, rejections, is that you see it from the point of view that this person is doing this based on his own or her own mental disposition, the way he feels about life, the things that affect his emotions. Because people do things not because of they want to do it on their own. It is as a result of the influence of things in their life. Some could be as a result of drug influence. Some could be as a result of parental or siblings relative influence. Some could be as a result of peer pressure. Some could be as a result of their exposure to a lot of negative content on the media. Even what happened in the US, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a young boy of 22. When you look deeply, you will observe that the young man, by his own nature, because he's an academic genius, by his own nature, he might not have the intention of killing the guy. Yeah, killing the American guy. But as a result of the negativity he's exposed to, the type of peer pressure that has taken over him, you no longer have any option than to be callous, than to be so ruthless and horrible. Because that kind of a thing he exhibited is the worst kind of thing somebody can ever do. If you disagree with someone's opinion, killing the person is not actually the best. If you disagree with my opinion, you come with a superior opinion that will downplay mine, not trying to silence me through killing me or something like that. It shows that you're a weakling. But the young man, according to his academic records, is a man full of intelligence, endowed with intellectual sagacity. So, but you can see what negativity can cause in the life of a man. So you see that somebody that has insulted you or done something bad to you is doing this as a result of some negative influence he's exposed to, either from friends, either from relatives, or anywhere. So these are the things that can basically affect your emotions. And when you understand these things, you know how to handle them. So that is it, by the way, on the side of handling negative emotion that comes your way and everything. So another thing I want us to talk about is about life. Well, a life after death. Life after death. What is your own opinion? How do you see the possibility of one experiencing life after he is dead or she's dead? Now, this is a very deep question that left scholars bamboozled, left scholars, scrambling on things, confused on how to address. A lot of people will give you their own analysis based on the historical events, based on the biblical teachings and the religious teachings. They will tell you that this is what they feel, this is what they think, and this is what they envision to see life like after death. And some people who must have had near-death experience, they also have their own views on life after death. Here in this live video, we are going to hear my own views in regards to life after death. One thing we all should understand is that we all humans are walking dead. Every single person you see on earth is a walking dead. As we are growing old, the moment we are born, as we grow old, mature from childhood to adolescenthood to adulthood, and then we are all growing and growing and growing old, approaching our grave. Every single day you wake up, you are taking step to you entering your grave. You might not really know when, you might not really know how, you might not really know what might transpire for you to enter your grave. It is the destiny of every single human on earth that you must die. When you have this mindset, when you have this mentality or the picture that you are not going to live forever, you are just a walking dead, it will help you to understand life better. You just understand that some of the things we all fight for, strive for, and everything doesn't really matter, doesn't really count as we thought it could count. Because the moment you leave the surface of the earth here, everything you have acquired, you no longer know how it happened. You won't even know who is handling it. You won't even know how your body will be kept, or how they will play it around, or how it will be left. So you just be an empty vessel. It will help you to understand how you deal with things, how you deal with your fellow humans. You just know that everything you are fighting for, you are struggling for, you are doing all manner of things. When you look deeply, you understand that these things doesn't really count as much as you think it does. So I digressed a bit, but I'm trying to use it to explain some points about you as a person, understanding a bit about life after death. Going further in it, for me, I feel like life after death is something we normally experience almost every single time when we sleep. We are just observing the temporal nature of death. Take for instance, the moment you sleep, the moment you close your eye to sleep, the moment you close your eyes to sleep, you don't even know what else that is happening. You don't know whether you are pushed, whether you are done anything. Your mind or your brain will be reflecting all you have been through, all you have done throughout the day, all you have been doing all manner of times and everything. These are the things you're going to be experiencing as you sleep. You basically don't even know what the earth or the world is like the moment you sleep. Whether it's 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, or 8 hours of sleep, you know that you are lifeless at that very point in time. Your whole body is empty, even though you are still breathing. But no, you won't even know, you don't know what is going on. So sleeping, or the moment you sleep, is an indication of you trying to exhibit what could actually transpire when you die. The only difference between when you are sleeping and when you will die, the only difference is that when you die, your heartbeat or you stop breathing. Basically, you cease from breathing. That is one major thing that will separate you from the living. You no longer breathe again. People will see that you are no longer breathing, and you can no longer even turn around or shake yourself. So that's what differentiates you. But every other thing that a dead person exhibits is almost close to what we experience as we sleep. The moment you sleep, you feel tired and you sleep. You don't even know when you have slept. The next thing you see yourself is that you are going somewhere else, or you are doing one or two things, or you are moving around the whole world, or you'll be doing kind of a repeat of what you have been through throughout the day or in the past. Maybe you might see yourself attending a classroom gathering, or you might see yourself in a family meeting, or you might see yourself in the church, or you might see yourself in different places, which at that very point in time you will not have control over. There will be limited control over what you do when you are in dream. So that is why it's extremely important for us to know that life after death is deep. Now the question is there any place we will be going the moment we leave this vicinity called Earth? Do you have any place you are going to go? Is there any place that is kept for us we are going to go in? As a Christian, I am by virtue of my religion, because I was converted from traditional religion, which is African traditional religion, to Christianity after my baptism and my Holy Communion. You understand vividly and clearly that Life after death, the way Christian belief has actually seen it, is that the moment you die, if you are doing good, if you have done good and you have actually played your role very well on earth, you are guaranteed of enjoying eternal bliss, or you will be admitted or accepted into heaven, where you will now have peace, you have relaxation, you have enjoyment and everything. This is the nature of heaven as a Christian. Because I'm going to answer this as a Christian and as a realist. Because if you don't allow your religious sentiment to dominate your thinking. Any question you want to answer, if you want to answer it in the religious sense, you answer it religiously. If you want to answer it in the scientific sense, you answer it scientifically. Or if you want to answer it in any form, whether it's by your own mental scope or your experience, that is how you answer it, not influenced by any kind of emotion. So as a Christian, I believe strongly that if I die today now, there is a place I am going called heaven, to go and enjoy, to go and have peace of mind, to go and rest. That is the nature of heaven. Is a state of being in state of being in communion or in relationship or in the ambience or the atmosphere of divine heaven. Even though there is no geographical location, latitude and longitude, there is no point of reference or coordinate where this heaven is located. Heaven is not in the sky, neither is it under the ground, neither is in the air. Nobody could actually point out and say, this is the direction where heaven is located. Even though we Christians believe that heaven is up in the sky, because when Jesus ascended, he ascended into heaven by going up, as we believed. So, but based on exploration, scientific exploration, astrologies, and the geographical studies of the earth surface and everything, we came to the realization of the fact that there is no location, as it were, physical location where you can find heaven. So the implication is that heaven is a state of being. You can only explain the nature of heaven, but you cannot describe or you cannot state categorically clear that this is where heaven is. Any person that tells you that this is the location of heaven, this is where heaven is, this and that, the person is simply a liar, a bandit. Call them pulpit bandits. So that's what you have to understand, that heaven is a form of a state of being, not a location-based something where you can say, I want to go to heaven, and the location is in the east, on the north, on the south of the meridian, or the east of the northern hemisphere, or the east of the, it does not have any single location, as a matter of fact. So when you have this thing in your mind, it will help you to understand your spirituality very well. And again, if you now do evil, what we call tag evil, there are ways in which Christian beliefs interpret the concept of evil. So when you do evil in the Christian belief, you are meant to go to hell. Hell is like a place prepared for evildoers, people who don't believe in Jesus Christ as the Son of God, people who are not saved by the gospel of Christ, people who don't love their neighbor as they love themselves, all those kind of stuff. People who perpetrate evil in the society are meant to go and perish in hell, according to Christian belief. Our major preaching, the focus of our preaching is love. Christianity is about love. You love your neighbor as you love yourself, because we felt like love conquers all. You forgive your neighbor, you don't bear grudges. That is the major teachings of Christ, expression of love to our fellow humans. So, but in regards to that aspect, if you now exhibit hatred, which is opposite of love, hate, it means you are going to end up in hell. That is the description of afterlife for Christians. But then, as an educated person who I am a very core realist. I believe in dealing things the way you see it, not as the way you idealize it. You know, we have idealists and we have realists. So people who are realistic, they want to see it as it is. They keep it real. So the fact that I'm a religious man, the fact that I'm a Christian, doesn't prevent me from being a critical thinker, asking questions about about the meaning of things around me, understanding my life as it were, and doing the things I know I want to do that will help me to grow as a person. My religious mentality or my religious thoughts doesn't stop me from such. It's just my nature. And I'm an unapologetic about that. So aside from that, my religious thoughts or my religious sentiment of what I believe in, concerning my realistic sentiment, realism, how I see life and everything, based on research, based on studies, based on my exposure to life happenings, the things I see every single day of my life, I strongly believe that the moment we die today, if a person die now, there is no place the person is going to. There is no location the person is entering. He's not going to any heaven, he's not going to any hell. Because I believe we humans is almost the same thing with that of animals. The animals we see all around us, we exhibit almost the same characteristics. The same way we are born, that's how they were born. The same way we eat, the same way we feed, the same way we move. Most of them move that way. Movement. Some were erect actually. Most of them bent. But all the characteristics displayed by a living thing, animals do exhibit it. And I believe that some of them can actually be trained, like dogs and some animals, trained to do almost like what normal human beings used to do. We have some of them chimpanzees, monkeys, who somehow have some percentage of genetic makeup like us. Most of them have the genes that is running our veins. That's why we are all living things. And some of them we consume them. So, by that virtue of them being consumed or being eaten, if they die, for instance, where are they going to? Do they have their own heaven or they have their own hell? Is there a place where they are kept? You might argue that humans have soul, they don't have soul. I will quite agree with you in that sense, that we have soul and they don't have soul. But how can you differentiate soul of human and the soul of the fellow animals? Because some of them exhibit some level of intelligence that we humans used to also exhibit. They have their own defense mechanism. They have the way do their own things. Some of them even exhibit some high level of intelligence that normal humans or some people cannot exhibit. So if all these animals die now and they are gone and gone for good, they will enter the soil and become part of the soil, become part of the earth. Then what made us think that we are different from them? What actually made us to feel that we are more important and more useful than this set of creatures? There's nothing. We don't know whether they are going up or whether they are going down. It is as a result of our own higher intelligence, because intelligence is in stages. Our own higher intelligence that made us think that we are going somewhere else, and they themselves, they are not going anywhere. But that's why I said, as a realist, I believe that since we eat the same way our fellow animals eat, we move the same way they move, we breathe the same way they breathe. The moment they die, they'll stop breathing. We exhibit almost all the same characteristics of living things. Mr. Niger D. Movement, respiration, nutrition, irritability, ability to respire, growth, excretion, and reproduction. This Mr. Niger D is all exhibited by all animals. That any living thing, they move, they respire, respiration, they breathe in, they breathe out, they eat, nutrition, irritability, growth, excretion, and reproduction. So if they do all these things that we humans do, what made us to think that we are better than them? What actually made us to feel like we are better and more exposed, or more endowed, or more gifted, or more, will I say, somehow different from them in a way? I don't think if there is any reason, logical reason, to tell me that if we exhibit all these characteristics of living things the same way animals exhibit it, then the death part, which is Mr. Niger did, the death part is going to be different. Because I say we have movement, we have reproduction, respiration, we have nutrition, we have irritability, we have growth, we have excretion, we have reproduction, and we have death. So since we eat the same way they eat, we respire the same way they respire, we excrete and grow and move almost at the same, even though they are not the same, but with some level of similarities. What makes us think that when we now die, our own death will be different from their own death? This is my own view as a realist, somebody who have seen the world from a very point of view of my own reasoning. So that is basically why I concluded that as a realist I am, if the moment I die today, if it happen to be my own destiny, because I have completely detoxified myself from the poison of fear of death. I no longer fear the possibility that I might leave this earth anytime soon. It's not like I'm not concerned about the fact that I'm going to die one day, but it doesn't really make me feel bothered. Because why will I feel bothered on the things I know that is inevitable? I cannot help it. The only thing I just have to do is just to try as much as possible to at least to help this thing from happening to me in the long term, not now. Anything I feel I can do, even if my lifestyle, I can just limit it, not to be moderate it, whether it's my sexual encounters, whether it's my drinking activities, whether it's my movement or eating, any kind of thing. Whether you are drinking water, drinking alcohol, drinking any kind of drinks, eating any kind of eating, any kind of things, or anything you are doing, just for you to be in the safer side, we do it in moderation so that you will not hasten your own death sentence to having to or your own death real quick. So it is only on this channel you can hear this. This is my view as a person. I am a realist by my own education and learning, but by my own religion I represent. I'm a Christian. I have told you what afterlife is as a Christian, but for me, as a realist, my own definition of afterlife is two ways. One, if one dies now, like I have explained, there's nothing that differentiates us from the normal animals. If one dies at the moment now, the person, because we are made of two things, matter and energy. Matter and energy, that is what we are composed of. This component of human nature, matter and energy, if the person is lifeless, it means that the energy in the person is no longer there. It has left. It is now the matter that is present. Energy has been separated from the matter. So the fact that you are living is because there is an energy, a capacity, and an ability for you to do something inherent in your system, present in your system. That is what helps you to live long. That's what helps you to do anything, to move. So if you remove that energy from your body, the fact that I'm talking now, the fact that I'm doing things I'm doing is as a result of the energy in me. This energy can actually be fueled or can actually be supported by the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink, and all manner of things we do to support this energy to be strong and to be sustained. The moment this energy could no longer get what is needed to sustain it, for instance, you are no longer breathing because the energy needs to be fueled in the form of air we breathe, to take in. If this energy is no longer being fueled again, you are no longer breathing again, the energy will be stifled. It will be choked up. It will no longer see any means to activate. If you think it's a lie, hold your breath, hold your mouth. Don't allow air to flow in. For some minutes, you understand why it is important that the only way we can be sustained is through the fueling of the energy in us. Or even if you are just taking air, breathing in and out, and you are no longer eating, no food entering your system to, improve how energetic you're going to be. You'll be weak, even though you are living, but you will be terribly weak. You no longer move, you no longer respire, you no longer excrete. The next thing is death. The moment you stop feeding, even if you are taking air, you are going to perish. So you cannot see that in as much as air is important, food is also important. So that is why I need to understand that energy that is in our body is what is making us to move. And the moment you stop feeding this energy, the moment you stop making this energy to be alive, to be strong, it will leave you instantly. So that's why you need to understand that the most component of human nature is this body and the energy in us. You might not be able to understand the scope, the component. You might use science to explain the component of this energy, the things that make up this energy, but you might not really understand how this component operates to bring about humans being sustained for a long time. You might not know how. You might just know that air is there, food is there, everything comes together to regulate it. It is fueling this one. Once you breathe in, it enter your organs that will help you to move around. When you breathe in, you breathe out. When you eat, it will be digested in your stomach. Everything will happen. Everything. Just explain. Just give explanation of what you are seeing in the body system. But the question is now is, you don't really know why this particular life, this thing we call life, is being sustained by this energy we see. Because the moment this energy that is sustaining life is no longer there, the life ceases to exist. Consider as much as energy is not life, energy is a component. Just like matter is a component that makes life to exist. So the moment you remove this energy, remove this life, two things you have removed. Remove this energy, remove this matter, you will no longer be in existence. This is just the reality. So now, because I'm trying to explain a lot of things, I will still connect it to what I was saying. Because my point is that we are made of, as a realist, I believe that we are made of energy and matter. There is no way you can separate the two. They are inseparable. If you separate energy from matter, that matter can no longer exist. If you separate matter from energy, energy cannot do anything on its own. So that's why they used to say that energy can never be created nor be destroyed. It can move from one point to the other, from one body to the other. The phone I'm using to record this video can only do this. It has energy and it has mass, it has matter. The matter is just the component in the phone. Everything, the camera, the audio, the video, everything. Now, the energy is the charging. When you charge it, it will power. If the energy ceases to exist, the thing becomes lifeless. And the power itself, the energy coming in, cannot work without the presence of the phone. So the two components work in pari passu. They work together hand in hand to bring about the existence of life. That's perfect. So now, if person dies now, if somebody dies at the moment, it means that the energy is no longer there. The matter becomes empty. Life is no longer there, meaning that both the component that is inside the body, which is energy, is helping it to sustain the life, because energy that is coming inside the body is being sustained by an organ or some organs in the body. So the moment this energy ceases to be sustained or cease to occur, it means that life is no longer there. Life will leave. But in as much as there is energy inside that life, inside that body or matter, there will be a continuous existence of life in that system. So death is, to me, a separation of two components, which is your matter and then your energy. And as we all know, energy cannot be created nor be destroyed. However, it can move from one point to the other. The implication is that if someone dies today, the body, which is the matter, will be lifeless and nothing will happen in that body. No consciousness again. The energy will leave and move to the next available thing it can meet. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. And the same energy is being transferred. You can transfer energy from light to heat. You can transfer energy from heat to kinetics. You can transfer kinetic energy to mechanical. From mechanical to any kind of energy can be transmitted. Even the one that is making us to be sustained, that is giving us life, is a chemical energy. And this chemical energy can be converted, energy in us, into us moving, into us running, into us, doing some things, exhibiting some characteristics that every other single thing that energy used to exhibit. So the moment this energy is no longer in us, we are now lifeless. Everything is gone for good. That's one. Secondly is that this particular lifeless body, as it were. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Renvita, keep on preaching, brother. Increase the kingdom of God. Thank you very much. So this energy we are talking about, once it leaves your body, you are now lifeless. You are no longer in existence at all. It means that by this nature, you are now going to be in endless sleep. Endless sleep. Nobody will wake you up again. You no longer know how the life is. So you be in continuous sleep. The matter is no longer there. The energy inside you has moved. It is either it is going into the space to be possessed by another energy that will accumulate it, or it is going into the anywhere it wants to go, that it will now be absorbed. Because this energy, like we said, it cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. You can't destroy it. The moment it leaves, nothing else again. So now, as a Christian, we strongly believe that the moment one dies and this energy ceases to function and the body is now lifeless, our life that is being supported by this mass, which is the matter here, and the energy functioning, like as we sustain this energy together, that is being supported. Once we leave, there is a place we are going to go and have peace and the calmness and the enjoyment, where there is no means of us to walk, all these things. So there is no place, there is a place we are going. It's a state of being. We don't know the coordinates of that place, the longitude and the latitude. We don't know. It cannot be measured, it cannot be tracked, but we know the nature. The nature of heaven is like we are going to this place to go and have some level of relaxation and everything in it. So, but then, as a Christian, we also believe that if you don't merit it, there is a place where you will go, hellfire, which is a place of eternal damnation for those who have not merited to be in heaven. But like I said in my previous teaching, that as a realist, as a person who is educated, I always try to separate fact from belief. It helps me a lot. It helps me to deal with life the way I should deal with life, and deal with belief the way I should deal with belief. I don't mix the both. There is a difference between belief and fact. Belief is that USA is comprised of 50 states. Belief is that Nigeria is comprised of 36 states and the capital territory, the capital state, which is Abuja. That is a fact. I don't need to believe it. It's something that is verifiable, it's practical. So now, if I have this intention or this mindset that I believe in something, it means that I don't really know about it, because I can't believe in something I know. If you have already know something, what is the essence of you believing in it? is a contradiction. So you have to say that I believe in something simply because you don't know that which you are believing in. But that belief is that you feel something like this could actually be true. But fact is that it is true. There is nothing like whether it is true or not. You have seen it and you have verified it. It is practical. So that is the focus. That is the most important target in this thing. You have to understand that there is a difference between belief and fact. So going back to what we were saying, because I'm trying to explain to you about life after death. I explained it as a Christian and explained it as a scientific student, as a science student, as a student of realism who believe in the real things we see, which I've explained. So that is it. If once you die now, it's either you go to heaven or you go to hell. So you have to take it as a belief. This is what you believe in. It could be true or it could not be true. You can't say it is true, 100% true, because you can't verify it. Can you see hell? There's no place you see hell. Can you see heaven? There's no place you are seeing heaven. But you believe there is heaven and hell. Then that will help you to organize yourself. It will create a framework of having a good behavior, of promoting obedience in the society. Perfect. Providing a framework for you to have a progressive and a society, because a society that is filled with war and consistent tribulations and fights, they will never have progress. There won't be peace there. So in order to bring about this peace, there is need for you to believe that there are certain things you do, you are entering hellfire, and there are certain things you do, you're going to heaven. That will help to regulate your behavior as a Christian. And I know that there are different belief systems: Buddhism, Hinduism, a lot of them, Muslims. So all of them are beliefs, and they all have a way of preparing your mind to make you believe that if you do something evil as a human being, that there is a reward for your evil deeds, and there is a punishment for your evil deed, and there's a reward for your good deeds after here. So that will help you to, in as much as it doesn't stop some people from doing what they want to do, it will help to regulate the large amount of people from misbehaving and doing some horrible and terrible things. So that's what I'm trying to say. As a realistic person, I believe strongly that, not believe that, I inside me, I feel that once somebody dies now, the energy in the person leaves. The person is no longer in existence. The person is left empty. Now, that body is in a consistent sleep. Consistently. The person is sleeping endless sleep. There is no life again in it. Now, the soul or the life or whatever, or the energy that left the body, anyhow you want to describe it, the question is that particular thing that left the body will lose consciousness. That's why, as a realistic student, I don't think that we are going anywhere. That's what I'm saying. As a realist, I have to explain this to you, and a religious person, I have to explain this one to you. The moment the system exhumes or a kind of releases this energy from our body, it is no longer going to be conscious. There's no consciousness it has, because what brings about the consciousness of this thing in our system, the consciousness of the fact that you are conscious, the fact that, because when you talk of consciousness, it means a state of being aware of your surroundings. You are aware of the things you are doing. There are things you do everything, you are aware. Awareness is mean you are conscious. So that state of awareness is triggered by certain level of body structure or component in our system. This state of awareness that is comprises of some things. The moment that body that is providing this state of awareness or consciousness to life or to energy in us is no longer there, that energy that has left will lose consciousness completely. So you can't tell me that the thing that is making us to be conscious has a consciousness on its own the moment it leaves. It is not true. I don't believe that. I don't accept that as a realistic student. The thing that is making us to be conscious is as a result of certain body components present in us, the way we grew up with it and being nurtured. So this body component that is making us have the sense of living or the sense of being conscious, if the body component is absent, then that particular energy or life, you can call it, or spirit that is composed in this consciousness will lose consciousness by itself. It cannot exist independently. That is my argument. Consciousness only happens the moment there is a coordination between a body and the spirit, a body and energy, a body and a life, a body and the soul. So depending on how you want to describe it, there has to be an existence. There has to be a coordination between these two bodies, between these two components, a body and life, for us to have consciousness. And if these things are lost, if they don't exist again, in as much as saying that our body is going to be conscious when we die, it's not possible. The moment these two things can no longer come together again, the consciousness is lost in that being. The energy can enter into the space or it can go anywhere else and is not going to have any form of consciousness. That is my argument. You go into the air, go into the space and mix up with any kind of energy. That is why most of the time, most of these people who practice black magic or voodoo, so they normally do things which I have to let you understand the things they do, which is the next thing we are going to enter into, is that these people that practice this voodoo, they believe in one thing. Once they get the element of the earth, these elements are composed of bodies. Practically, this element of the earth could be plants, it could be animals, it could be anything around us. Any single thing existing around us. These are the things the people that practice voodoo use. Once they get this element of the earth, they mix it together, either by pounding it, either by cutting it, doing all manner of things they want to do, mix it up. For them to make this element of the earth to be active, to perform, there has to be a life force in it. There has to be a life force, a force, a form of energy that should be, sent to this particular mixture. That is, there has to be a matter and a life force for this thing to do what? To be activated. So once they get this thing, with the intention they have in preparing these charms, there are things they prepare, intention they have. So they are now sending some form of life force into this particular thing they have prepared. This life force, the active ingredient of a life, is nothing but the blood. If there is no blood in a system, there is no life there. So what proves that somebody is living is the presence of blood in that person. So the moment there is no longer blood in a system, that thing is not living. The reason that we have living things and non-living things is that non-living things don't, no matter whatever you want to put it, non-living things don't have blood, but living things will have blood in our system. So this blood is a life force, is a life. It has energy in it. So pushing this life force into this component, into this mass that is inactive, that doesn't do anything, will send some level of activeness into that particular matter. So the moment you are killing these animals and pouring their blood on it, it can be cow, it can be goat, it can be chicken, it can be ram, anything. You are trying to provide a life force into a lifeless body. So they are trying to create a form of life they can be controlling by sending this thing to this particular thing. It will not become active. It will not become active. It will do anything it wants it to do. It can, if you pray with it, if you do any form of incantations on it, because there is a life force in it, that is what will make it to be active. And the higher the kind of life force that is poured in it, the more stronger and more active that particular charm that is prepared is going to be like. So this is just the basic principle behind the preparation of all these magical things. The fact is that the moment you start pouring blood on something, no matter how lifeless or weak that thing is, the moment blood is start pouring on that thing consistently, we have created a form of life in it. Whether that life is going to be moving or going to be doing anything, it doesn't matter. But a life force has already been infused in this particular thing. So there will be more activeness or ability of that thing to explore and do some things, do everything. So that is just the thing we have to understand in the concept or the point of the depth or the interactions behind life after death. So I just wanted to understand this simple thing that life after death has different understanding people apply to it. You might apply to it from the spiritual side as a Christian. You might apply to it on the physical side as a realist, like I told you. So there is no one size fits all for this particular explanation, because every single explanation you give it to doesn't really remove the fact that you can't really completely agree with yourself that this particular answer is the best answer. You just give your own based on how you feel it is. But there are ones that are factual and there are ones that are believed. You believe in it. A factual one is simply, if you die here and the soul is no longer there, you become lifeless and enter into a deep sleep. So whatever that happens after now is now a belief. It's no longer fact. You can't verify it. There is no place that it can be verified. So that is it. Very important thing you have to understand in the point of life after death. So my own concern, I don't have a very single belief on it. I don't have one single belief on it. I just have a very simple thing, very simple acceptance for myself that these things can happen in two ways. It's either you happens as as your belief system packaged it for you, or made you to understand, or it can happen as you being a science student of science who understand some realities. So that is by the way. That is by the way. That is by the way. So another topic I want to be dealing on is going to be on leadership. But before then, I want to take a drink. I'll be right back. I'm back again. I'm back again. Talk about leadership. So, when it comes to the aspect of leadership, you have to understand it from two different perspectives. As a leader, you have to understand that leadership is not a title. Leadership is not about title. It's about responsibility. What makes you an effective leader is your responsibilities, how you have actually delivered your responsibilities. That is what makes you a good leader, not your title. You are the president of this, you are the governor of this, you are this, you are that. It doesn't really count as much as we think it does. What counts most as a leader is your ability to take full responsibility of the people you are leading. Without these responsibilities, we are nothing but a follower or a fake leader. Because we can actually have real and fake leaders. So as a leader, there are things you need to understand. A good leader, you have to have one, intelligence. Because when you are intelligent as a leader, it will help you to communicate effectively. Because one of the key skills of leadership is communication skill. Because you are not the one going to be doing the things they are meant to be doing. It is you that is going to communicate the things that are meant to be done. So if you don't know how to communicate, you don't have communication skill, you can't be able to ginger people, you can't be able to persuade and negotiate with people to get what you want. You are not an effective leader. So what makes you an effective leader is that you have a good communication skill. You can communicate well. You can talk to people and make people to change their behavior. You can motivate people and make people to do things they initially don't want to do, but because of your influence and your words, they're going to do it. That is what makes you a unique leader. Number one, intelligence. You have to be intelligent, extremely intelligent. Even if you are not extremely intelligent, there are some degree of intelligence which you have to exhibit, which peradventure will make you a good leader. Because intelligence comes with communication. Whoever that is intelligent, it endows or it beholds or it is expected that such kind of person should be able to communicate. Yes, you can't separate the two. They are interdependent. Intelligence and communication. That's one. Second thing, as regards to being a leader, a good leader per se, is that you have to have compassion. You have to be compassionate. When I mean compassionate, I'm trying to mean that you have to really understand what it means to feel for the people you are leading. Even though we have to strike a balance between being compassionate and being a weakling. As a leader, you have to be compassionate. Very, very important. I'll be back. All right, so as I was saying, as a good leader, you have to be compassionate, very compassionate. You have to feel for the people you are governing. You have to listen to their cries. You have to listen to their pains. You have to know what they are passing through. You have to be there for them. You have to completely lose yourself into their service. That is what separates you from a leader, a good leader from a terrible leader. Apart from taking the responsibility, because I say that leadership is about responsibility, it's not about title. It's about what you do when you are in a leadership position that makes you a leader. So you have to be compassionate. I have said you have to be intelligent, so it helps you to communicate effectively. You have to be compassionate, and that compassion will help you to understand the plight, understand the feelings of the people you are governing. So but you have to strike a balance between being compassionate and being weak, because you don't allow the emotion of people you are governing to direct how you should think or how you should make decisions. Because when you allow them to influence how you make decisions, your decision will not be effective. Every decision you are making as a leader should be a decision that will be for the long-term benefit of the people you are leading. So it's very important to take it into account that you have to lead with compassion. That is true. Second thing that will make you an effective leader is that you have to know how to discipline people. You have to be disciplined, because you can't discipline people without you having discipline. You can't give what you don't have. Discipline. There has to be a clear distinction between punishment and reward. And when people do things good as a leader, you don't wait until whatever time you prefer to reward them. Reward them as they have done good. If people do bad, as a leader you are, punish them. Because if there is have a selective punishment or selective reward, you are creating a big problem in your leadership system or your leadership position. So don't be selective when handling issues that deals with punishment and reward. Reward people according to what they do, punish people according to what they do. That will help you to, even if the person is very close to you, find a way to punish the person so that Because the more you allow somebody that's close to you to do something bad and you don't punish the person, you are actually breeding, you are actually planting a seed of future rivalry or future disrespect or future disobedience in that leadership. But once somebody sees that what he does, nobody, questions him or her why he should do something like that, it has given the person the more strength and capability to keep on doing more evil. And that evil you have empowered him to do might one way or the other affect you as a leader. So what you should do is to endeavor to know when to punish people and know when to reward people according to what they have actually done. Good. So that is the third thing a leader should do. Now, the fourth thing a leader should do, an effective leader, is that you have to be very decisive. Decisiveness, I said one is intelligent, you can communicate well. Second one is compassion. You have feelings for people you are governing. The third one, like I said, is discipline. You have to be very well disciplined before you can enforce discipline. Because without discipline, there won't be rule of law, there won't be regulation in your system. And the next one is decisiveness. What is decisiveness? Decisiveness is, as a leader, you have that ability or that skill to be decisive, simply to make decisions regardless of whoever is affected. You are making this decision for the long-term benefit of the people you are leading. It might hurt them today. For instance, in my state now, our current governor is building massive road networks, dual carriage roads, that is building roads, and this road now, it requires that it's going to demolish many buildings along the way. Shops, buildings, businesses collapsed, a lot of things. It has displaced a lot of families, obviously. But his decisiveness as a leader made him to embark on such journey. A lot of people might be his friends. A lot of people might be friends of his friends. A lot of people that is affected might be his family members. So there are a lot of people that is affected that ordinarily he might not like them to be affected by his compassionate nature as a governor. He might not like those people to be displaced. Some might be their last savings. It might be their everything. They are living with. Without it, nothing else again. So, but as an effective leader you are, you know that it entails that you should take that decision at that very point in time and end or start up something that will be progressive for the people you are leading. It could be in the case of leadership in our country that has failed. Our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. He has failed Nigerians, basically. And why did I say that? This is because he's not decisive. Even though his decisiveness is partial, is biased. When it comes to decisiveness, I mean, we have terrorists roaming about, destroying the country, setting the country into a time bomb, doing all manner of things. He has all the capacity. He can, if he wants to end terrorism today, he will end it. But maybe because, like I said, he's biased, maybe because of the influence or because of the thing he stands to gain, because most terrorist activities are politically motivated. One of our past leaders, General Sani Abacha, he mentioned it that any particular government that allows terrorist organizations or terrorist groups to exist in less than 24 hours, that government has hand in it. They have hand in such kind of stuff. He made mention of it. So if he doesn't have hand in it and it destroys something for him, he'll find a way to end it, because he's the leader, he's the chief executive, he's the CEO of the entire country, he's the leader of all the armed forces, he's the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, whether it's in the air, whether it's in the sea, whether it's on land. So he's the commander-in-chief, and he has all the military capacity to do anything he wants to do to any group. No group on the surface of this country now can challenge the existing federal powers. How will you start? So all these things that's happening, he's just not want to interfere in it. He just intentionally decided to leave it. Maybe there is a political movement or political gain from there. This happens in other countries of the world. Countries of the world, they don't fight things head on. They don't fight terrorist activities the way they should, because of the political gain. The things they are gaining from such kind of activities is making them not to fight or to stop it. So, but as a leader that is decisive, when I mean decisiveness, the moment you see that something is destabilizing your country, and your intention, or less your intention of being a leader is to help to destroy the country further. But if your intention of leading is to make things better, because the essence of us having leadership is for us to regulate human behavior, to enforce law and order, and to bring about progress in the society, protect life and properties, do everything. So that is why we have government. But if something of that nature doesn't come and play out as it's supposed to, then there is no need for the government. That is why most of the time anarchy happens when there is extreme bad governance. The people will take to the street and take powers into their hands, and then there won't be government again, like what happened in Nepal some days ago. So when the Gen Zs were tired of everything happening in their country, then say, no, we're going all out to take what belongs to us. And they did it. And you can see the power of unity. So most of the time, these things happen. Bad leadership happens as a result of one, the government is not being decisive in ending something. Decisiveness is a skill every leader should have. This particular thing is spoiling things for me. The country is in shambles. Be decisive. You follow it head on. This is what should be done. And when you take that decision, you show some level of proof to help at least cushion the effect of your decisions. Because when you are decisive, you want to end hunger in this country. Some people will be affected by you trying to end something. As you are trying to solve a problem, you are creating a problem somewhere else. Yeah, basically, you want to end something, you are creating another problem somewhere else. So you now have to find a way to strike a balance between cushioning the effect of this problem that will arise as a result of the problem you want to solve. Maybe you want to end terrorism, and you know that it will create a problem for you, you try to find a way to cushion the effect of this problem that will arise and stop it from happening. So this is basically how you can prepare yourself and be an effective leader, as it were. So that is by the way. Before we move on to the next thing, because I'm going to be dealing on leadership, I'm going to be talking on leadership for an extended period of time. You have to give me few seconds, maybe 10 seconds or thereabouts, 20 seconds. I'll be back. Let me get something. I'll be back. Just a minute. So I'm back again in our live stream. So what did I bring? What I do now? I'm going to be deliberating on some things, reviewing a particular book, because this topic is on leadership. What I'm talking about is on leadership. So I'll be using a book which you know, a popular book which you know. See it here, Art of War. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Art of War by Sun Tzu. So this is where I want us to be reviewing on the things in this book. We have strategic assessment. That is chapter 1. Chapter 2, we have doing battle. Chapter 3, planning a siege. Chapter 4, formation. Chapter 5, force. Chapter 6, emptiness and fullness. Chapter 7, armed struggle. Chapter 8, adaptations. Chapter 9, maneuvering armies. Chapter 10, terrain. Chapter 11, 9 grounds. Chapter 13, chapter 12, fire attack. Chapter 13, on the use of spies. So this book is one of the most influential book of all time. A book that its importance can never be overestimated. It has actually changed a lot of things. It has actually influenced decisions of leaders. It has actually done a lot of things for people in position of authority. So I always recommend people to find a way to go through this book and use it to build their leadership skills. It will help you a lot in making decisions. It will help you a lot in being a good and effective leader in your communities, in your place of work, in your political positions, in everywhere you find yourself. It will help you to be at an advantage of knowing when to lead. And when you are being led, you know how to be a good follower. Because one thing about leadership is that it's interchangeable with followership. Yeah, it takes, for you to be able to know how a leader is, you have to be a good follower. Because you'll be on the mountain. If you want to know how the mountain is like, you have to look at this mountain from the lowland. And if you want to know how a lowland is, you have to climb the mountain and look down. So a follower is like someone who is on the lowland, and the leader is like someone who is on the mountain. So if you want to study a leader very well, you have to be a good follower. And if you want to study followers very well, you have to be a good leader. You have to be in leadership position. So these are the things you need to understand as regards to leadership. So strategic assessment. The first statement made by Master Son is that military action is important to the nation. It is the ground of death and life, the path of survival and destruction. So it is imperative to examine it. That's the first thing, the first statement mentioned on strategic assessment, that military action is important to the nation. It is the ground of death and life, the path of survival and destruction. So it is imperative to examine it. So we go through all these things written, all the responses by, it is written in form of discussion. Master Sun will say something, some of his boys or some of his, mentees, people that is leading, will be giving some analysis of what Master Sun is talking about. So I don't want us to waste much time on it. He's just trying to tell us that military action, you know what is military action means? Because when you talk of leadership, especially in the level of nation or country, any country that doesn't have a military strength, that country is not existing. What makes you a country is your military strength. What makes people to fear your country is your military strength. Politically, what makes you to be politically strong as a country is your military strength. So that's why Master Son said that military action is important to the nation. It is the ground of death and life, the path of survival and destruction. So it's imperative you examine it. So as a leader, you have to practically examine your military strength. Military strength is how are you equipped by your machineries, by your ammunitions. US, China, North Korea, Russia, all these powerful nations. The reason why they are powerful is not because they are talking. It is because of their military strength, their military powers, their tanks, both land and sea. They are full of anything you want. They have thousands of nukes. Nuclear weapons. China has it. US, North Korea, all of them, they have their nukes. So because of these things, not just nukes, they have several weapons, massive weapons. B-2 Stout bomber, US have it in large quantity. So anything you want, they will give it to you. So these countries are powerful as a result of their military strength. And what makes what makes your country militarily strong is how your personnel are being trained. The capacity of individuals in your military, is what makes you a strong country. And the machineries, the weapons you have, these are the things that makes you a strong nation. And that's why Master Son started it by saying that military action is extremely important. Military action is extremely important, and you have to examine it. Extremely important. So now, going forward, Master Son said again, the ways a minute. Master Son said again, leadership is a matter of intelligence, trustworthiness, humanness, courage and sternness. Intelligence, trustworthiness, humanness, courage, and sternness. So, and it goes further to explain what it means by intelligence. Intelligence is you, it helps you to plan, to make changes when necessary, effectively. So, trustworthiness, in that case, people are sure that they are going to be punished or rewarded. Once they do something, they know that, see, this thing they are doing, like I said in my video, in my previous analysis of leadership, that if you're a leader that is not going to be trustworthy, like trustworthiness, people should trust you that if they misbehave, we are going to punish them. If they do well, we're going to reward them. That is what Master Son said, the two major important traits of leadership. Planning, intelligence, which helps you to plan and communicate. Second is trustworthiness. And the third one is humanness. It means that you have love and compassion for the people you are leading. The people you are leading, you have compassion for them. That is humanness. So the next one which he mentioned is about courage, which I said about being able to be decisive. Courage means you seize the opportunity to do something. Like anything you see that you want to do something, you do it without having to contemplate. Courage, whether you are going to be affected somehow, but you know that this is going to help you or help the nation grow forward. That is what makes you a good leader. You are courageous. And next one is sternness. Yeah, you have to establish discipline in the ranks of street punishment. So if people misbehave, you do what? You give it to them. You give it to them the way they want it. So that is how you should know what or who an effective leader is, as described by Sun Tzu. You have to be intelligent. You have to have trustworthiness. You have to have humanness. You have to have courage and sternness. So that is it. This is of me bringing up this book for us to use it to review, because we are dealing on the topic that has to do with leadership. So another important thing, because like I said, this particular live stream is about education. Here to teach you on a lot of things. We started with how you can be able to manage your emotions when you are being insulted or when you are being disrespected, how you can manage it. That is what my first this thing started with. I moved from there to life after death. From there now, I'm now moving to leadership positions. Now, another thing Master Son said is that a military operation involves deception. Because when we're talking of this military, apart from nations, individually, you should also look at yourself as a nation of several components. Because what makes a nation is nothing but the human, the people that is there, controlled by a particular leader or set of leaders, is making them a nation. So you have to see yourself as a nation. So anything they're saying about this thing, nation, always look at yourself as the nation they are referring to. So we say that a military action or military operation involves deception. Even though you are competent, appear to be incompetent. Though effective, appear to be ineffective. If you are competent, appear to be what? Incompetent. If you are effective, appear to be what? Ineffective. Now, from the further explanations, they say that without deception, you cannot carry out strategy. And without strategy, you cannot control your opponent. Yes, because for you to control the opponent or win the opponent, you have to be strategic. And strategy is nothing but you appearing to be weak when you are strong, or appearing to be weak or strong when you are weak. These are strategies you have to apply for you to control the opponent. If you come plainly open and tell the opponent how you are, the realities on ground about you, then you have lost the battle, as a matter of fact. So any battle you want to win, you have to be deceptive in applying some of these strategies, because you can't say you want to win a war and you always come out clean and pure, and you expect to win that war. In short, the worst kind of thing you can exhibit, the worst kind of strategy you can apply in war is being truthful to your opponent or to the people you are fighting for, because they will use that truth to fight you and defeat you. So the only way you can win any battle is through deception. And Sun Tzu have made sure that without deception, you cannot carry out strategy. And without this strategy, you cannot control the opponent. I cannot win the opponent. So deception is important. That will now lead me to talk about how to be a good strategist. When the moment you mention apply strategy, it means that you are trying to maneuver some things. Strategies entails that you are trying to be deceptive. You want to bend the reality to favor you because of the conflicting interest or competitive advantage available at your disposal. So, but then Sun Tzu made it very clear that the book made it clear that deception should be for the opponent, the enemy you are fighting. And you have to be truthful with your group of people which you are using to fight this battle. So that's why when you are fighting a battle like this, you have to know the distinction between who are your opponents and who are your friends. Because when you don't know who are your enemies and don't know who are your friends, you'll be making a huge mistake. You'll be applying a strategy on your friends which you're supposed to apply to your enemies. So knowing how to differentiate between who is your friend and who is your enemy will help you to apply strategies effectively. That's why Sun Tzu go deeper and said that deception is for the purpose of seeking victory over your enemy. Whereas if you want to command a group, it requires you to be truthful. Unless you are fighting with your group. If you are not fighting with your group, you shouldn't be deceptive to them. You have to come out clean and be realistic. So that is it on the aspect of being deceptive or trying to apply strategy in order to win a war. So going forward, like I said, we are going to be looking deep into this book on life. I'm going to be picking some important points, not all. So another important point by Sun Tzu is that they say you should use humility to make them hot, because we are going deep on leadership. So we're using Sun Tzu to go deep on this, to explain the things you need to learn about leadership. Use humility to make them haughty. So what do you mean? You try to do some things for or against them. And these things you are doing for or against them, they say you should use humility to make them haughty. Most of the time, humility has to be you displaying some kind of attitude of you being low or being loyal or being simple-minded or being obedient to your enemies or even to your friends. But when you are using strategy to fight your enemy and they say you should use humility to make them haughty, it simply means that you should just find something expensive gift to give them, sweet talks, do some things, crazy things, try to be humble and everything. They will look at you as you are humble, but you are making them to feel prideful, because the moment you are displaying some form of humility to people, they will feel some level of pride in them. They feel like I'm the boss. I'm the boss now. Nothing happens. I decide what I want to happen and what I don't want it to happen. So it is not left for you to know that you have to know when to do what. You have to know when to understand when somebody is using this against you. But the essence of this book is not just for you to learn how to use it against people. You should learn how to know when someone is using it against you. It will help you to be prepared ahead of time. So when you see people give you expensive gifts, especially your enemies, they use sweet talks, they'll do something so unique and so good to be true. Just know that they are trying to use strategies on you to make you feel prideful. And when they see that you are full of pride, you no longer think of how to hurt them. They will strategize and attack you. So that is one strategy you have to be mindful of. So when you see people appearing so inferior and weak, they're actually applying a strategy, especially when your enemy, whom you know is your enemy, is trying to appear weak and inferior to you. They just want to make you to feel proud. And when you are proud of yourself, you will no longer be strategic again. You will think that you have won them, you have defeated them. So when this thing happens, they will do what? They will attack you. So that is how you have to be very careful in dealing with people, especially your enemies. Like I said, this is we are dealing on now. This is now we are tackling leadership, and I chose this book as a book I want us to use to discuss on leadership. Like I said, I won't be talking on every single thing on the book. I'll just be picking some points in the chapters, one after the other. So now, the chapter I'm holding now is still on strategic assessment. So the last thing I want us to talk about on this strategic assessment is like they say, tire them by flight, cause division among them. So most of the time, for you to be able to defeat your enemy in a battle as a leader, controlling a nation, you have to be very swift. You have to be very quick in your attack. And you also have to cause division among them so that there won't be, they say the divided nation is easy to be conquered. So once you divide the nation, once you divide people, it will be easy for you to conquer them. Anybody you want to conquer, just find a way to create a division among them. If any country is united, is in unity, it is hard to divide, it's hard to conquer those kind of people. The moment you see division among them, those no say is a strategy of them being dominated or being conquered. And when you see people trying to divide your brothers or you and your friends, just know that the person just wanted to conquer you people. So once you divide them, cause division among them, you are definitely going to control that particular entity, according to what Sun Tzu wrote. So now, we are moving forward to the next chapter. It is chapter 2. And this chapter 2 is about doing battle. It's doing battle. So they said, when you do battle, even if you are winning, if you continue for a long time, it will dull your forces and blunt your edge. If you besiege a citadel, your strength will be exhausted. If you keep your armies out in the field for a long time, your supplies will be insufficient. So when you do battle, your battle should be short-lived. Because when you do battle for a long time, it's going to be a lot of disadvantage for you. Whether it's personal battle, whether it's a national battle, whether it's a community battle, whether it's a organizational battle, any battle you want to engage in, you have to know that being fast and quick will save you a lot of cost in the process. So another thing I want you to understand, which I want to read out again to you, is what Master Saul said. Those who are not thoroughly aware of disadvantages in the use of arms cannot be thoroughly aware of advantages in the use of arms. So what is he trying to tell you? He's just trying to tell you that disadvantage and advantage, they are interdependent. And you cannot reap the advantages of something if you don't really know disadvantages of that particular thing. I'll repeat it again. You cannot know the advantages of something very well if you don't really know the disadvantages involved. It is when you now understand clearly that this is the disadvantage of this. That's only when you can now know the advantages. Like I said, they are interdependent. So what is he trying to tell you in this case now? He's trying to tell you that for you to engage in any conflict or anything you want to do, compare the losses involved in it. What are the losses involved? When you have checked the losses involved, and you now check the gains involved, it will now help you to understand that something you are going to gain more in, there is a huge loss that might be involved in it if it happens that you don't gain it. Something you're going to gain a lot in, if you don't finally gain it, especially in this issue of warfare, it's going to cost you a lot. That's why you say that you first and foremost need to know the advantages of something before you cannot know the advantages. They are interdependent. If you don't really know how depth your loss will be or the cost of what you are about to engage in, you will not really understand the things you are going to benefit from there. So it's only when you now know the loss, you now do what? You now get yourself prepared. And you don't leave any stone unturned. You make effort to see that you definitely gain from this. So that is another thing you need to understand. So going forward in our analysis, our review of these books on this chapter called Doing Battle. Important one I want us to discuss is that it's important to know that military oppression is victory, not persistence. Is victory, not persistence. You just have to find a way to win fast so that you will not dull your strength. Because the more, according to the book, the more you spend time in doing battle, the more you are wasting your resources, exhausting your personnel and everything. So the important thing to consider is victory, not persistence. We say persistence is good, persist in something you're going to win. It's not always all the time that you have to persist in some things. There are some things that require you to be fast. Like me, for instance, now, it gets some things, especially if I want to engage in something, I want to start up something, I have to measure my persistence. Before I even persist in something, I have to check whether that thing really worth the persistence. Because there are some things you put your persistence in, you will not be able to achieve it. Before you achieve that thing, it will wear you out. you will give up in the process. So it will look like as if you didn't do anything. Take for instance now, I'm born in Nigeria, and maybe peradventure I want to become president of US, and I'm a Nigerian. The most important thing I should be interested in, I should be focusing on, let me say this is a war I want to fight to become president of US. Obviously, it is impossible for me to be president of US because I was not born in the US. Na Nigeria where they born me. So for me to achieve some things, I have to differentiate between what is the most important thing I want to achieve now. Is it to go to America and go there and work, or to become a president? If I start working towards becoming a president of America, I might not be able to achieve it in my lifetime. So, but if my intention is to go to America and start working there, I might start doing some things, putting some things in place that will guarantee me. So it will be real quick for me to get access to that environment and start working there. That would be better for me as a person. But if I continually struggle to become the president of America, it's an impossible task. You cannot achieve it. It is within the framework of things beyond your own control. You cannot do it, you cannot achieve it. So knowing what you can achieve, being able